Hey, we're at PRI 2017 and what I'm pretty sure is the North Pole because it is frigid here. But it's actually Indianapolis and now the bells are ringing in the church behind us. But we've got some good stuff to show you inside. We've got a lot of new products. We're going to check it out and we're going to get in out of the cold. All right, so now we're in the BMR suspensions booth and we're going to walk you guys through some of their Mustang suspension here. One of the things that BMR is known for is they don't just make one part. They make a lot of different versions of, say, the same part. So if you want a panhard bar, if you've lowered your S197 Mustang, you're going to need a new panhard bar. But you don't know which version you want, you call up BMR and tell them, here's what I'm going to do with the car, and they will recommend whichever version would work best for you. So you can go from anything from one that's poly bushings on both ends, poly bushings on one end and a spherical bearing on the other, spherical bearings on both ends, but all these are adjustable. So if you lowered your car and you need to get your axle centered again, that's what you're going to have to go do. You've got different versions of control arms, radiator mount. This is a big one, I think, is the upper control arm for S197. Look at all the different versions you can get on this thing, and then look at the size of that spherical bearing on this thing. Huge. You're not going to have to worry about blowing that thing out. Same thing with this massive poly bushing. So you've got a different version depending on what your goals are and what your budget is. And of course you've got your lower control arms, you've got your billet or your tubular, and lowering springs, relocation brackets, all that good stuff. Including your lower control arms, same deal. You can have it with one poly bushing and a spherical rod end or two spherical rod ends. Again, they're adjustable. So here's some stuff that's really cool. Of course they've got their Watts link set up. This thing will make an S197 handle like crazy. But let's say you're not going for handling, you're a drag racer. Check out this anti-roll bar. This is the only race anti-roll bar that is 100% bolt-in for your Mustang. They've been selling a ton of these things. And it's a great product because if you want to get your car down the track straight, that thing will do it. But let's say you're not looking for a race-only piece. So you're going to drive your car on the street quite a bit, but you do a lot of drag racing too. Check out this version of it. So this thing completely bolts in. It is a race part, but here's the kicker. If you want to drive it on the street and you wanted a little less harsh of a ride and everything, you change out this bushing. So you can go from Delrin when you're in race mode, see it black, just take your air ratchet and go pull this thing, pull the cap off, put in a poly bushing. Smooths out the ride quite a bit, and you get rid of some NVH, but that's it. That's all you got to do is change that up, and now it's way more street friendly. Go back to the track, pop the Delrin bushings in, you can change up your link setup, and you're ready to go down the strip. So it's a really neat setup for anybody who wants to race their car, but also want to enjoy it on the street without being beat to death. The last thing they have going on, BMR makes a ton of stuff for Mustangs and Camaros. They're in the Dodge market now, so they've got this Challenger set up. I'm pretty sure it's just a deadfall for old men and rednecks, because that seems to be who drives these cars. But they've got a ton of options. If you do happen to have a Challenger, maybe they'll put an exhaust on this one at some point. But they've got the braces, sway bar end links, all that kind of stuff. So if you're into Dodges for whatever reason, they have that stuff too. But one last thing I'll show you guys. Check out all the goodies they have for the independent rear suspension for S550. You got springs, sway bars, all that good stuff. All your poly bushings for your cradle. So yeah, BMR one-stop shop, and they've got a version of whatever you may need. From mild to wild, they can put it together for you. Okay, so we stopped by Dart and Sleeve, and it looks like they have a celebrity in the booth. I think that's John Force, but I'm not sure. But anyways, what I want to show you guys, say you've made too much power or you want to make more power, check out the sleeve kits they have out now for the 5-liter. Nice setup right there. Definitely makes some more power. So if you, especially see on these new 5.2 engines in the GT350 and even the 5-liter engine in the 2018 GT, you don't have a traditional liner in the block anymore. You just have a spray in liner coating. So the least little bit of screw up on a tune or something like that, you're going to mess up that liner. So instead of throwing away a fairly expensive block, go and sleeve it. And it will be even stronger than factory. And then check out the stuff they have for the 2.3 liter EcoBoost engine. That is sweet. So if you can blow up, fix it up right. Or let's just say you want to make way more power. Awesome setup. That is Dart and sleeves. So HP Tuner's booth this year is friggin' massive, enormous wall. And they're here showing off, of course, their latest software. And one thing that I love, the Track Addict software. So if you're at the track, you can data log on top of video as you're going around the track. All GPS based. You can see where you are on the track, track your lap times, and all of that fun stuff. And I was talking to them just the other day, and they said that their Engage device for the 2018 Mustang will be shipping in about a week and a half. So before the end of the year, you're going to be able to get Engage for 2018 Mustang. So I was talking to the guys here at Crowder. Of course, we're looking at Chevy parts here, but they told me that they have a new engineer that they're working with. His name, I think, was like Montgomery Scott or something. They have finally developed transparent aluminum. That is a complete engine right there. Transparent aluminum block and heads. Pretty neat setup. All right, guys, we're here at VMP Performance, and I know you guys have seen Rebecca Starkey's car that she runs in NMRA. You know, it has the Gen 2R blower on it. Actually, just qualified first in her class at Mod Nationals. But I know what you really want to see is their new Gen 3 TVS blower. So this is going to be available for GT500, Coyote, all that good stuff. But here's something that's really cool. You might not have seen this yet. Check out this throttle body. 173 millimeter. Uses a larger bolt pattern. So this is probably the largest throttle body you're going to find for a supercharger on a 5 liter or, you know, your GT500 engines. This thing is massive. I mean, check that out. It's going to flow a ton of air. And of course, it's 2650 rotor pack. So this thing is going to make some serious power. Of course, they're going to have the Gen 2R blower available, and they have their dual blower throttle body. That'll be working on the Gen 3 blower as well. So on top of that, of course, they have their heat exchanger, fuel system, t-shirts. Of course, you can't be walking around here without a nice VMP Performance Cherry Bomb t-shirt. And you need to make more boost, you need a pulley. But that's it. You see Rebecca here signing autographs. We showed you their new car earlier, but they tell us they're going to still campaign this car as well. So be able to see both of them next year. Pretty cool. Can't wait to see the Gen 3 on that car. So Borla is easily best known for their exhaust systems, but they have been expanding into turbo upgrades as well for the EcoBoost engines. The two that they have out now is for the 3.5 liter F-150 EcoBoost. Get new turbos, new exhaust, and of course tuning, filter, everything you need to bolt this thing on and add 160 horsepower to your F-150. But let's say you have a 2.3 liter EcoBoost Mustang. Oh, they got you covered there too. Add 100 horsepower, brand new turbocharger, all the stuff you need to bolt it on, plus an intercooler. And this core is massive on this thing. I mean, check that out, huge core. But of course, Borg-Warner turbo that is a direct bolt-on for 2.3 Mustang. 100 horsepower. I know I like the sound of that. Pretty cool. They've got Harry Gant's NASCAR. It appears they have repaired the damage from when Cole Trickle hit him and spun him out in Days of Thunder. You guys may be familiar with Nitrous Outlet. So they have some really cool stuff going on for the Ford market. Check out this setup on a Cobra Jet intake manifold. That is a ton of nitrous. And then on top of that, they've got a throttle body plate for your Coyote. And one of the things I thought was super wicked was this new version they have for carbureted applications. The Kraken. That thing is nasty looking. Ton of nitrous, ton of fuel. Should be awesome. And it's just eye candy. It looks great when you take your filter off and you see that. So, that is Nitrous Outlet. Also, we stopped by the SCT booth and let's take a look at like what they have. So I know you guys are familiar with the X4. It's been out for a couple years now, and this is the standby tuning device what pretty much everybody with SCT is using now. They got a new device coming out called the BDX. So this is not going to be a replacement for the X4 just yet. They're going to still sell the X4, but this is going to be in addition to the X4 for now. This thing is pretty cool in the fact that you do not have to have a computer to hook this thing to get your custom tuning or to send off data logs. It all works, it's cloud-based. So you hook up to your Wi-Fi, and in your car, this is just going to have one part number. You order this thing, get in your car, hook it up to the OBD2 port, and if it's hooked to your Wi-Fi, it's going to download all the software firmware you need to tune your car. Plus, now this is the big thing. If you're getting custom tunes, your tuner, whoever it may be, Lund, VMP, JDM, whoever you may choose to get custom tunes from, they can upload your custom tune to the cloud and it will download automatically to your device. They just do it through the serial number on the device, and there's no hooking it up and trying to get your drivers and everything on your computer to work properly. It's just all done over Wi-Fi. So that's a really neat thing. But even better than that, you can take data logs from this and upload it to the cloud for your tuner to look at. So there's no having to guess, if you've got the right driver, you've got the right version of the software anymore. It's all done automatically through this device. So that's a pretty neat setup. Now, if you want something a little bit more robust, better looking, you're looking for a gauge set for your car, the new GTX is replacing the live wire. And you can see you can set up all kinds of different parameters on this thing to monitor whatever you want. Set up different gauge styles. Right now it's acting like it's a 6.7 power stroke it's hooked to. But you can choose your gauges and however you want it to look. I haven't played with it a whole lot, but yeah, you'll get the idea. But this is really neat in that you've got all these options to tune with, just like the BDX. It will do cloud-based tuning, cloud-based data logging, and all that, so it has the same features. But then you get the nice gauge display and everything in your car. Now, one thing that I thought was really cool about this is there's no more worrying about leaving a nice expensive piece of hardware up in your window than maybe somebody busts your window to try to steal it. If you want to, say you park your car, you don't want that thing showing anymore, instead of having to unhook all these wires and the suction mount and all that to put it in your console, just grab it, unhook it. It's magnetic. So all you got to do is now throw that in your center console and you're done. Or you can just walk away from the show with it and have a free one. But I think I'll put it back for other people to play with. Hook it back up. And it powers back up as soon as you put it on. And now I've got to figure out how to slide that back on because I think I was a little too rough with it. But there we go. You can see it powered back up in the time it took me to figure out how to get the mount back on. But just pull it off and put it back on. Pretty neat. And automatically powers up as soon as you put it back on there. So that's a pretty neat little safety feature to keep your car from getting broken into. So that's it from SCT here at PRI 2017. Copyright infringement. All right, now we're in the Nitrous Express booth, and they have some pretty neat things coming out this year. Check out this supercharger lid with nitrous and fuel spray bars. This thing is totally incognito. If you hide the solenoids, nobody would ever know that you have a nitrous setup on a supercharged application. But let's say you have a really big turbo. You want to get it spooled up quicker. I know it says it's for a diesel. Check it out, nitrous stacker system. Got to get that big turbo spooled off the line. Good way to do it is with some nitrous. And they have some beautiful billet intake manifold here. That's, of course, with their setup on it. And a nice Butler built small block with, again, a ton of nitrous. So, Nitrous Express, as always, great quality parts. And pretty much something for every application you can imagine. Again, check it out. Coyote plates, 2-valve plate. I know you guys with 2-valve need some nitrous, so pretty much everything. Check out Nitrous Express. So you want to know what it's like to go to PRI or SEMA for that matter? This is it. It's like a cattle herd walking through here. Assholes, elbows, everywhere you go. So Carilla Rods has a pretty nice display going on. If you ever wondered how your H-beam rods started out in life, It was this forged steel blank. It goes through a couple machining processes, and it's whittled out of this solid chunk of steel. Eventually, you get forged steel H-beam rod. In this case, for a 6.7 power stroke. So we're here in Anderson Composites booth, and I know you guys have probably seen this by now, but this is Rebecca Starkey from VMP Performance's new car that she'll be running next year in MRA with a whole lot of carbon fiber on it. This thing is nasty looking. Check that out. Got the carbon fiber hood, carbon fiber fenders, doors, Anderson Composite stuff. It's super high quality. I mean, I would not paint this stuff. I think it looks so good it does not need paint, especially for a car like this. Chin spoiler, everything. Super, super great looking car. I love that power dome hood. Great looking car. One secret that I will tell you that not a lot of people know about this car, no engine in it right now. But at least they fixed the stance, so it looks like there is one. But as it sits right now, no engine. Word is they're working on building a new Coyote for it with their VMP TVS blower kit. I think this is the best looking 2018 I've seen so far. You know, those headlights don't always look great in every color combination and everything, but you wrap it in carbon fiber, yeah, it looks pretty good. Check out VMP Performance and Anderson Composites. And if you have a Corvette, you can get that. So inspired by President Trump's Make America Great Again slogan, American Racing Headers has decided to take a Prius and make it great for once by swapping in a Hellcat engine with a Whipple on it. Not a bad way to make a Prius actually drivable. So one of my favorite engines that Ford ever built was the Boss 429, and it was a monster of an engine. It was actually what ended up killing off the Hemi for you Dodge fans. So Ford put this thing in a few Mustangs just to homologate it for NASCAR use. And they made a ton of power, but they built so few of them that they weren't really available on the aftermarket. But now you can from John Case or Cassie. They have basically everything you need to build your own version of a Boss 429, or in this case, a Boss 572. They sell the cylinder heads, covers, all that great stuff. But check these things out. The intake port is massive. You get these huge valves, massive exhaust port. So something that went from basically being unobtainable because they built so few of them, call up, order the parts, build your own version of a Boss 429. You guys know I love me some Ford GT. You want to take an awesome car and make it even better? That'll do it right there. Add a big ass Whipple supercharger to it. Check out that intercooler setup. That thing is massive. Intercooler is way larger than factory. Yep, 2,000 horsepower. Yes, please. So something Cummins has been pushing for the last couple of years is this new 2.8 liter engine swap kit that they have. So they send you their 2.8 liter Cummins turbo diesel, it's 4-cylinder. They send it in a crate basically, just like that, with this wiring harness and everything you need to bolt it in to whatever your application may be. So this is probably going to be finding its way into quite a few Jeeps and things like that. It would be a great swap for like a Ford Ranger. But as far as I know, Cummins is the only one that has a complete bolt-in crate engine kit for a diesel engine. Hey, you want 800 horsepower out of your 6.7 power stroke? This will do it. Dual fueler kit and the Scorpion turbo system from BD Diesel. So we're here at Cook's exhaust booth, and it looks like swaps are the popular thing this year. There's Fox body Coyote swap headers and LS header swap kit for a JK Wrangler, so you can get rid of that anemic Pentastar. Or even worse, the old minivan motor. Ugh. Check this out. No, that's not just a regular GMC Sonoma. That is a Cyclone with an LS motor in it. Pretty sweet. And Cook's has moved on from just the domestic market and And they are now offering supercar exhaust. So, you know, if you need exhaust for your McLaren or Lamborghini, you can hit up Cook's now. Yeah, I've ordered 3 sets last week. It would not be PRI without a stop to the Ford Performance booth. So this year they've got, of course, their Coyote kits, Coyote engine, crate engine kits with your choice of transmission, either automatic or manual. This is great to be able to get 6R80 as a swap kit. So you can have an automatic in your Mustang with a Coyote that you've swapped. But this is something neat. At first, from distance, I thought this was a 3-valve car, and that would have been an odd choice to bring. But they've actually swapped in the 2018 Mustang GT's direct injected Coyote. So it looks like they're going to offer this as a swap kit. So if you want the latest in Coyote powered performance, you can get it now, complete with direct injection.
The direct injection.
So let's continue on around here. It is super crowded. Here is 2018, again, direct injected with the Ford Performance Roush Supercharger kit. And this thing is so new, it actually has a rapid prototype cold air intake on it. They don't have the finished part on the thing yet. But that is the Roush blower kit for you guys interested. They have gone to a front feed throttle body setup on it. And a lot of that is basically just due to the packaging. You know, you've got way more stuff to deal with. You have this new direct injection pump here on the valve cover. And if I can, I'll get back here and show you. Excuse me, guys. Excuse me. So the direct injection setup goes from the valve cover. You've got the fuel line comes out, goes behind the engine, and goes into the valley. If I can squeeze through here, goes into the valley, and that is your high pressure fuel rail, and you can sort of see the injectors. So that created a packaging issue for existing supercharger setups. So your older blower setups, positive displacement blowers, are not going to fit on the 2018 Mustang. So everybody, Whipple, VMP, Roush, they're having to redesign their blower kits to clear the bosses and the injectors and the rails for the new direct injection system. Continuing around, we've got a ton of dress-up items. This is pretty neat for anybody that's ever wanted to see stuff like this. A rapid prototype of an engine block. They basically grow this thing out of plastic, then they can test fit and do whatever they need to with it before doing an investment casting in aluminum or steel. This thing is neat though. Aluminum 351 block. That is beefy. Check out those 4-bolt splayed main caps. So let's keep going on around. Knock some people out of our way. So going through here. New Z2 427 crate motor. This has the new Z2 cylinder heads. When Ford came out with the original version of the Z heads, those things were fairly innovative. Really good street and strip performance head, and the Z2 even better. We've got a Watson Racing Cobra Jet. This thing is beautiful under these lights. And of course it has the big Whipple blower on it. And continuing on around, excuse me. This thing should be way more popular than it is. The B53 modular stroker short block. So you've got a tired 4.6 liter. Bolt this thing in, and you automatically got a 5.3 liter V8. Again, they have EcoBoost swap kits, so it's a 2.3 liter EcoBoost. You want to create a modern SVO, swap that into a Fox body, or a modern GT power in a Fox body, put a Coyote in it. Super popular. And of course, they have all the intake manifolds and giant brakes, offering GT350 brakes now. Those are massive, especially when you compare it to the old Cobra brakes. Just a huge, huge upgrade. And they've got a new throttle body out for the 2.3 liter. Of course, your standard GT350 intake manifold, all that good stuff. But here's something I thought was really interesting and different. For the GT350 Mustang, they're offering a kit now to swap out the standard spin-on oil filter, this cartridge style. So no more guessing, you know, if you've got your GT350 oil filter torque route, because that's the first oil filter setup I've ever seen that had a torque recommendation. Swap out that that for cartridge style. And of course, GT350 heads, they're offering a billet oil pump gear setup with a complete oil pump for a Coyote. Again, this one's 5.2 specific, but it should work on any 5-liter. And again, it has billet oil pump gears. And of course, we have gears. You need some differential gears and setup kits. One thing that I've had a lot of questions about is people ask, can I use, say, 430 gears in my S550 Mustang? And the answer right now, I think, is no, because I don't think anybody manufactures it. And the reason is, well, they're like, hey, it's an 8.8. Why can't I just go grab a set from Yukon? Here's why. This is your standard 8.8-inch gear. The biggest difference you're going to notice is in the pinion. So if you check the diameter of the pinion bearing surface here, now check out what the Super 8.8 is. This is your S550 Mustang. Way bigger bearings. And depending on which gears you choose, the ring gear is going to be thicker or thinner as well than the old standard 8.8-inch version. So that's your major difference. That's why your standard 8.8-inch gears will not work in an S550. It's that. Pinion diameter is much, much larger and beefier on the S550. Going on around here, this thing is ridiculous. Daytona prototype with the new 5.2 XS crate motor. Absolutely nasty. It's a beautiful car, beautifully done car. Again, it has this Illuminator 5.2 XS crate motor in it. You can see it is quite popular. And of course, they have the standard blower kits, different valve covers. Hadn't seen this before. The new F-150 specific valve covers. Well, actually, they're not valve covers; these are coil covers. And a great display showing the difference between a factory half shaft for S550 and the Ford Performance version, rated 1,500 horsepower. That's big. Lifetime warranty. Break this thing, send it back, get a new one. But look how much beefier the setup is. Crazy. So that's pretty much it. They have the standard stuff, new wheels, things like that. But the big deal is that Daytona prototype. It is getting all the attention. So that's Ford Performance. So if you happen to have a Dodge Ram with a Cummins diesel in it, and it's getting a little bit tired, and you think maybe you're ready for a rebuild, for just a few tens of thousands of dollars more, you could step up to a billet block. So I know you guys know what a Pantera is. This one's been done up just a little bit different than most. These cars came with a 351 Cleveland from the factory. This one has Coyote V8 swap with Cobra Jet intake manifold. Check out these headers on this thing. That exhaust system is gnarly. It's gnarly, bro. Wraps around, comes up. Pretty neat swap. If your 351 Cleveland and your Pantera is getting a little tired, that's not a bad idea. You want some wicked loud exhaust for your Coyote Mustang? Check out this setup from MBRP. Oh yeah, got some tiny little catalytic converters, an H crossover, and itty bitty mufflers. This thing is going to be wicked sounding. We got Mike Murillo's new drag car. I want to slap some SVTP stickers on it. I think that's a good spot right there. Still sponsored by SCT with some big fat Mickey Thompsons. It wouldn't be Mike Murillo's car if it was not a Fox body. Dude loves Foxes. Knows how to make them pretty fast too. Look at it. There's a lot of shit going on that dash. So I have been harassing Harlan Sharp for about 4 years to make these. 6.4 power stroke rocker arms. I don't know if you guys know the story on these things, but that is a notorious failure point for a 6.4 power stroke is the rocker arms. The tips start to wear out, and it causes a side lobe on the valves, which then wears out the guides, which then makes everything loose and sloppy. And I'm not really sure if it's a chicken or the egg type thing. Is it poor lubrication that leads to that, or is it the DPF system pumping extra fuel into the oil, thinning the oil out and making the oil a problem? But whatever it is, you're going to rebuild a 6.4 power stroke, you should probably think about getting these things. That way you don't have to worry about valve train issues anymore with it. Well, I think I found my next toolbox. Anybody want to take up a collection? SVT Performance definitely needs one of these. All right, guys, I'm going to take you on a walkthrough of the featured product showcase. So this is basically a room with just all the new parts that debuted at PRI 2017. Then we got some toolboxes. World Performance got some new blocks. Looks like big block Chevy applications. So that's pretty neat. Got some headers from PRI Fabrication. QA1's doing carbon fiber drive shafts now. Cummins bell housing, so that's kind of neat if you have a diesel, but check out this thing. Roush Ford Performance blower. This is actually a rapid prototype. This is all plastic, made in a rapid prototyping machine. Weld has some new drag wheels out. Apparently we can shave our tires now, so if you're into that. We've got some more oil pans. Check out this exhaust system. 2018 Corvette Z06 from Dynatech. Some sweet bends on that, sorry. And then we've got some accessory drives. Big ass cog belt, so that's nice. More toolboxes, more headers. This time they're from GPH headers. Here's some stuff from Stainless Works, 2015 Mustang GT350 headers from Stainless Works. Of course, the exhaust system and everything to go with it. And more stuff. LS Turbo, again from GPH. Got a stack fuel injection system from Kinsler. And a Ford Mustang power pack from Ford Performance Parts. So I guess they're going to give you a cold air intake, all the tubing you need, tiny little tuner, and a GT350 intake manifold. There's a backside of these World big block Chevy blocks, 4-bolt mains, of course, because why else would you want it any other way? And what else we have here? Titus Performance blocks. I'm not sure of the application, but it's pretty. It's aluminum, has sleeves. Looks good. Toolboxes, oil, Optimum batteries. These Optimum batteries are looking different. They don't look like the spiral core ones. I'll have to check that out and see what they're doing there. More toolbox stuff, some gaskets from Cometic. Sweet ass carbon fiber helmet. I'll take one of those. More stuff. Looks like a lithium battery pack. Nitrous Express stuff, more gaskets, of course. Here's some Nitrous Express kits. This is for LT4, and then just your regular spray bar. Got some tools. Tools are always fun. Here's some 2017 Challenger headers from Stainless Works. Cams are fun. And apparently art counts as a new product, so now let's go around. That is a sweet toolbox. That is pretty neat. Butcher's block comp, I like that. Shock dyno. Saw these guys, Frankenstein engine building or engine dynamics. They have some really cool stuff. They do a lot of billet, which I think this is, yep, there's one of their billet heads. Pretty neat Hemi head, made out of billet aluminum. Brell battery. This thing probably weighs next to nothing because it's lithium. You know, Deechworks has some fittings out.
How are you?
Another Frankenstein intake manifold. Again, billet aluminum. Borla has some new stuff out. That's a crazy looking collector. Then we got some more cylinder heads. This is an aluminum 6-liter Ford diesel cylinder head. Haven't seen that from Promax, so that's different. I wonder if they're going to make a 6.4 version. Might be pretty good. Oh, what we've got over here, cold air intake stuff from Chevrolet Performance, a shifter. That's really cool. Is that a 9-inch? Yes. So even if you have a Dodge, a Hellcat, you can get some Ford parts for it. Put a 9-inch rear end in it. That's pretty cool. Ford small block and LS Henny cylinder head, so that's different from Hammerhead Performance. And over on this side, got some clamps. These tables are pretty cool. If you're a fabricator, I don't know how you can live without one of these things. So this is a fabrication table. You can move all these clamps around wherever you need it to be to hold your part, fabricate it. Pretty neat little setup. What else do we have here? Brake pads, some Ross pistons. Redline has a new oil out. Distributors. Check out that piston from Ross. That thing is ridiculous. Briscoe always coming out with new spark plug applications. Easy Link has new tuner applications. And of course, they're showing it off with the Samsung pad. And then we have Beachworks are doing fuel rails now. Torque converters. VP Racing, new octane additive. We got Mobile One doing some stuff. We got itty bitty engine blocks. I don't know what that's for. V8 engine and 3D block printing more. Okay, so I guess they're just offering 3D printing and mold making capabilities. So I guess if you're a manufacturer, check these guys out. VP doing, so that's pretty cool. We're going to have some traction additive. So instead of using VHT, you can use this stuff. And then we have some Duramax rockers and looks like another Hemi rocker setup. Turbos, big turbos, big brakes. And got some planetary gears, so I'm not sure what transmission. Looks like 700 and R4, so yeah, more Chevy stuff, yay. Lexus ISF headers, and that's it. We're out of parts. So that's a new part showcase for PRI 2017. I'm going to leave you with the image of this sweet ass looking billet cylinder head. All right guys, this is going to have to be real quick. I just walked out and noticed there's actually more of a featured product showcase than I thought. So let's run through it real quick. Got a robot arm and a propeller, which is weird to be at PRI, but okay, and a Hans device. Another helmet, some more big brakes. There's the SCT devices we talked about earlier. And well, these are the Bully Dog versions, but you know, SCT owns Bully Dog and they share a lot of the same equipment now. Race Quip carbon fiber helmet, I'll take one please. Some shocks. There's your drag racing gauge setup. Holley has these new intake manifolds coming out for LS motors. So it's pretty cool, high rim intake. Oh, let's see, more brake stuff, you know, fuel pump system, MSD, looks like they have an oxygen sensor, wideband out. Check out this Pro Charger, freaking huge, sweet. Pedal setups, ignition systems. They're trying to kick us out of here, but we're gonna stay. Some Pro-Motley tubing, more headers, this time from Cooks, Tri-Wise. Who does it say? Oh, NASCAR headers. So yeah, if you happen to have a NASCAR in your garage, you can call Cooks and get a set of headers for it. More helmet stuff. Catch can, this from Moroso. A welder. You know, if you need to clean your hands, get some grind magnet, JE pistons, some clutches, plenty of clutches this year. We got some, man, what is this? Clutch actuator. So sticking with the clutch theme, but then we'll switch down to a torque converter. And more stuff to clean up with, some spray nine. I'm not sure how spray nine's a new product at PRI, but okay. And wheels and more helmets, more shocks, JE pistons. Here showing off their new billet, standard forged, and optimized grain flow forging. That sounds fancy. To check out what JE has going on there with that. Set of spindles, some more JE pistons. I'm seeing a theme going on here. Check out these boost line rods. Those are so pretty, I'm not sure you want to put them in the engine. Walker has the new air filter out. I have Walker air filters on another vehicle I have. We won't talk about that right now though, it's a secret. And we have some shocks from QA1 and parts cleaner. Autometer has some new gauges. That's a neat little setup showing off those. If your gauges are doing this, you're probably in trouble though. Just things blinking and flashing and arrows moving around. LSX fronts of oil pan. That is a big engine stand. I'm guessing if you have an engine that's big enough to need an engine stand that has an electric motor to turn it, it's probably a pretty big engine. Big fluidine radiator for GT350. So that's pretty cool. You guys, with the GT350, Fluidine has a new radiator coming out for you. Got a Canton LS oil pan and a Canton big block Chevy oil pan. More pistons. Billet sheet metal intake manifold. That's for a big block. I'm gonna check this out. Set of Hellcat heads. Well, they are cast, but man, those are sweet looking. Nice ports on that. Fuel cells, scatter shields, and something to put in your toolbox. Keep your shit from rolling around. Now this time, that's it for the new product showcase. Now I'll leave you with like this Mopar holding down the carpet. Actually, let's find something more interesting to look at real quick. Let's walk through here. I'm going to leave you with the image of this. Not bad. And of course you got to cover up your zoomies on your Camaro. And a few other things, but that's it. All right guys, peace. What is this stuff on the ground? I do not remember this in Orlando. That does not look like fun. At least they have Santa.